class today is Introduction to Network Protocols and VLANs. We are going to define what is the network protocol. We are going also to discuss the types of the network protocols, and we're also going to briefly explain the differences between the LANs and the VLANs. So let's begin. Network protocols are actually what it makes the modern internet possible. They are the common languages that enable computers to communicate across our networks. Network protocols basically are a set of rules that define how data is formatted, transmitted, or received. So computer network devices like servers, routers, or any endpoint device can communicate regardless of their underlying infrastructure. Without standardized network protocols, computers wouldn't know how to engage with each other. And the internet, as we know it, it wouldn't exist. Networks generally have three types of protocols. We can categorize them in communication, management, and security. And we will be tackling each one in a minute. So let's discuss the types of the network protocols. First, communication, such as routing protocols, router talking to another router, or email. That's a protocol by itself, or even text messaging. When it comes to management, you always have to remember those two words, monitoring and controlling. When it comes to security, are we talking physical or logical security? So let's tackle each one. Communication. Think about it. If we are in a room and we have a group of people, if we all speak in English, we already know when to speak, how to start the conversation, and we already also understanding the language. So it's going to be fine. But imagine that we are in a group of people and each one of us is speaking a different language. One is speaking English, one is speaking French, one is speaking German. How do you think that will turn? Will they understand each other, or is it going to be a mess? Definitely the first room, they will able to communicate. However, for the second one, there is not going to be any kind of communication. It's going to be waste of time. So computer-to-computer communication can take a different form. Application or emailing service or transfer data. Of course, there are more, but those are the basic. So for example, if we have two computers, a PC to the left and the Mac to the right, they need to talk to each other. How they talk to each other? Well, probably TCP/IP as an IP protocol, because probably the user for the PC tried to stream a video that it located on the Mac. That's a communication TCP/IP. Or maybe the user of the PC need to send an email to the user of the Mac. That's another protocol. Or perhaps there is a PDF file on the PC and it needs to be transferred to the Mac. Bottom line, both computers are different infrastructure. However, they both have to agree about the language, about the protocol that they can use to communicate. So each kind of communication, it has a different protocol. When you send the data, when you emailing, or when you stream video, they are different services with different protocols. Both sides need to agree upon. Management. Management of a network resources could be either remote access, such as Telnet or SSH. I would like actually to access my computer, my router, my switch remotely. I want to change the configuration. I want to check on something. I use Telnet or SSH protocol. Or I would like actually to monitor those devices. Something happen on those routers or switches. Interfaces go down. Something went wrong. I would like always to know. Something is monitored. They are sending all of the traps to a certain location. I will get a call. That has to be bound by a certain protocol such as SNMP. So for example, again, the PC talking to the Mac. I can actually be initiating a session from the PC to control what the Mac is doing. I would like actually to change the configuration in the Mac. Or I would like to see if the Mac is going to go down. They will lose internet. Maybe hardware will go down. I would like to see and I would like to know immediately. Bottom line, both sides have to agree about the certain protocol to use so they can communicate and we can get the benefit of the conversation using that protocol. Security. Securing data means encrypting the information or the data from one device to another, such as a tunnel. And specifically, we always use the IPsec tunnel from the corporate office to the branch. I would like to secure this communication. Perhaps it has some customer information. Or I'm accessing my bank account, such as Bank of America or any other bank. Or even Google now, you always use SSL as an encryption mechanism because you have to protect these data going back and forth. So when it comes to security, PC talking to a Mac, well, if we need to secure the data between the PC and the Mac, we both have to agree about this protocol IPsec tunnel. That means we're going to use certain standards to make sure that I send it, the Mac receive it, and the Mac respond back, the PC will receive it, and they will understand each other. The same in the case of the SSL when you're accessing your bank account. The last item in our agenda today is the LANs and the VLANs. LAN, in a simple English, is a set of network devices that they are connected to communicate with each other. Some PCs, printer, scanner, etc. Similarly, the VLAN is the same type, but increase the flat LAN capabilities. There is a significant difference between the LAN and the VLAN. The LAN, in particular, operates in a single domain, whereas VLAN works in multiple domains. What does that mean? Think about it as a small business, and we have 10 people working in that small business. Everybody on the same network, they can share resources. We don't differentiate between this one and that one because it's a small business. But when you work in a corporate environment, we have HR department, we have a shipping department, we have finance department. It's not actually a good idea to share all of the information among others. So that's why, regardless of the physical location, the VLAN can combine the terminal with an identical requirement that is not possible in the case of the LAN. What does that mean? I can actually be on the 10th floor, but I have HR personnel and I have a shipping personnel as well. But I have the same in another floor, but we'll be able to separate the traffic between those domains. In the case of the LAN, we can't, but we can do that with the VLAN. So for example, what does that mean when we talk about domain? So I am the professor, I came to the class, and I have in the class Michael and Jack and Mary. And I'm saying, where is Jack? Can you imagine what's happening in that minute? Everybody's listening to me. So Jack was the only one needed actually to be talking to by the professor. Why Michael and why Mary has even to pay attention? It's a waste of their time. Because all of them in the same broadcast domain. Because all of them in the same domain. We don't differentiate between Jack is studying English, Michael is studying science, or Mary is studying physics. Why we have to put all of them in one class and then the professor has to find out who he is talking to? In a network level, if a server needs to send the data to only PC1, despite the fact that PC1 belongs to human resources, PC2, shipping department, PC3, design department. But guess what? Because all of them in the same domain, everybody will get the message. If there is a problem, everyone will get affected. And why is that? Because they are in one broadcast domain. However, using a VLAN, we divide them into different domains. So when the server needs to send the data to PC1, is only going to go to PC1 only. PC2 is not going to hear about it. PC3 is not going to hear about it. And if a problem happens between the server and PC1, nothing is going to happen to the other, PC2 and PC3. That's a good design. And why? Because we separated the broadcast domain. So VLANs provide separate broadcast domains, and we already discussed the benefit of that. VLAN introduces different security measures. What does that mean? I can actually have the human resources accessing certain information, certain data in the data store, but maybe the shipping department personnel shouldn't be touching this information. So I have different security measures. VLAN reduces the hardware cost. Why would I keep stacking all of those switches when I can actually share one switch for different departments? The VLAN also simplified the network topology and the troubleshooting because you already know which one belongs to what broadcast domain. We have covered the very interesting topics today. We have defined what is the network protocol and why we need them. We have discussed the types of the network protocols, and also we discussed briefly the LANs versus VLAN. Thank you very much for your time.